about Mondays, which is why researchers from the University of Exeter are urging companies to take action and help workers to love Mondays instead. Fascinated to find out how we are going to do that. We are joined by Ilka Injaolo, who is a professor in organisational behaviour and HR management at the University of Exeter. Good morning to you, Ilka.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did I pronounce that properly? Lunaidosophobia, is that right?
Well, it sounds pretty good to me.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, we'll just go ahead on that basis. So how did it come about that you decided to research this?
Yes, it's a fascinating topic, and I was actually approached by Channel 4, Kirsten Ferber, their people director, and investors and people who wanted to really look at the work side of it, because people seem to experience it. And the question is, what can you actually do as a manager, as an HR director, and as a CEO?
Right. So within their company, they were clearly getting messages back that people were struggling with Mondays. There's a bit of me wonders if maybe they just didn't like their job. But it wasn't so much that. It was just they were finding it difficult to get into the groove.
Well, we actually found that people who love their job experience it too. And the number of individual factors and work that contributed. So, for instance, when we look at people's individual experience, and that varies quite a lot, it's, for instance, self-imposed expectations, ambitions, it's finding it hard to say no to new projects. And when you look at the work side, what contributes to it are unfinished tasks every weekend, a busy week ahead, firefighting, and also actually receiving emails over the weekend.
Yeah, well, of course, we've all become used to that, haven't we? So were you able to suggest sort of positive actions that might sort of mitigate this?
Yeah, so the research is still in progress, but things that managers, for instance, can do is really rethink the Monday mornings and Friday afternoons in their team. So, for instance, instead of having really dreary, horrible meetings on a Monday morning, like operational team meetings, either keeping that free for employees so they can really get on top of their work, or also doing something that's maybe more positive, like a social check-in on a Monday morning. So some teams used to do that, for instance, during the lockdowns. So something where you're actually looking forward to coming to work. And the other thing is Friday afternoon, keeping those free, not dumping work on someone's desk, which they have to finish over the weekend in order to be on top of things on Monday.
And I mean, I know you're saying that your research is still ongoing, but is the thinking that you'll be able to come up with some kind of proposals that will increase, well, obviously employee kind of enjoyment, but productivity?
Well, we would hope so. So we're working on a toolkit, and other people's research have shown if you really are engaged in your work, then of course, you are more likely to be proactive, apply yourself. So it should also in the longer term impact productivity, and quite importantly, actually when we look at well-being, also hopefully help people with, for example, preventing burnout and making sure they have proper downtime over the weekend to switch off.
Ilka, thanks very much. I've got with me Danny Campbell, who's the founder of Hoco, which is an architect firm. Morning, Danny. Hi, Danny. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we've got you, Danny. Morning to you. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
Happy Monday to you, Danny. We'll also say happy Monday to Suzy Bowman, personal development consultant, founder of Change Your World. Happy Monday, Suzy.
Happy Monday to you too.
Yes, I'm going to adopt this now as a new thing. Until somebody slaps me, of course, which might not take too long. Danny, you're ahead of the curve on this, aren't you?
I think so, yeah. It's maybe because I love Monday so much. We're quite a young company. It's a very kind of creative industry. We obviously just work on people's homes, making them better. What could be more exciting day to day? But we do kind of organise our business in a slightly different way. We add a lot of fun in, not just on Mondays, but during the week. That means, coming into work should hopefully be a pleasant thing and something you look forward to.
But are you conscious of a Monday morning dip and you're taking steps to try and interrupt it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not necessarily just a dip, but it's about getting the week off to a good start for the whole organisation. So we kind of have our team meetings slightly set back from Monday morning, giving people time to catch up and stuff. The meetings are always quite high energy. It's very enthusiastic. It's like, this is what we're doing this week. Like, let's do it. It's kind of quite a difficult thing sometimes on like a really dour Scottish morning to actually get in that zone. But we find that the team are quite young as well. We're very enthusiastic, and I think a lot of us are lucky enough to really love our jobs as well, which is obviously a really key part in actually having enthusiasm for something.
Do you make people high five each other?
we don't make them high five. No, we're not quite that American yet, but we're getting there.
Suzy, it was interesting that Ilka was saying it's not just people who hate their jobs, because that was my immediate thought when this came up. I thought, oh well, these people just need to get a new job. But she's saying actually this applies to people who love their jobs, but it's just that Monday thing, and also interesting the Friday thing. Whether or not a big piece of work is dumped on your desk, I've got that to look forward to on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors that can impact why we have this response to Monday morning, having that Sunday night blues, Monday morning anxiety, and it can be as simple as, how are you spending your weekend? I mean, we're a 24/7 switched on society. We talk about work-life balance, yet most people work 5-6 days a week and they're cramming their personal lives into 1 day a week. That's not in balance. So of course they're going to feel resentful, they're going to feel anxiety, because they've got this massive to-do list of family life, just trying to enjoy life at the weekend, and then they're going into work and they've not had any rest or recovery. So even if you love your job, you've got to really question, how are you spending your time off? Is it restorative? Is it fun? Do you have that balance, or it's all just work and no play, and especially if you're getting emails at the weekend, you're never getting that opportunity to truly switch off from work, then it's going to be a challenge. The flip side of that, I was just going to say, of course, if you do switch off from work and you have loads of fun at work, at the weekends and your time off, then when you do come in on a Monday morning, it can be like, oh, this is dull, this is mundane. But again, when you're having these feelings, it's a signal. It's an alarm bell to say to you something. It's calling for your attention, and it's calling for you to look at this and go, what's not working for me? And really acknowledge it and address it.
Have you ever had that real dread feeling, Suzy?
Oh, yes, totally. Of course I have. I mean, 2 times before I set up my business, there was a time in my life where the entire team was completely burnt out. We were working on really busy projects, just really exhausted. We were bitching at each other, excuse my French, and just not getting on. And we were all just exhausted, and just that dread of going in on Monday. And I mean, I remember leaving my flat and putting my hand on the door and just thinking, what excuse can I come up with not to go into work today? And, I always went in, but it was that dread, because we were in this total stress response. We were exhausted. We were burnt out. Then the project changed, and it completely transformed the team, because we were all doing things that we really enjoyed, that nourished us, that there was creativity again, and, it really gave us meaning and purpose, and it actually lifted us up rather than kind of bringing us down. And, I love what Danny's saying. I mean, a great leader can be transformative in an environment, in a work environment, and leading by example, and just really caring about the well-being of their staff and their teams, and kind of really getting to know what's going on for you, understanding your teams and treating them as individuals, because one brush does not suit everybody.
No. It's interesting though, Danny, in terms of the psychology, because, there's a certain school of thought, I guess, who would say, well, work is supposed to be work. Work is not necessarily supposed to be fun. We've got to be grown-ups. We've got to accept that the things we've got to do that we might not want to do, but we do them because we need to earn money to pay the rent, etc. That kind of line. So can there be confusion between what is supposed to be a job, a responsibility that people have to knuckle down to, and not always expect fun all the time?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, you're there to kind of fulfill a purpose and do something that contributes in some way, regardless of what your line of work is. I mean, for me personally, not just as a kind of a business owner, but as a person who has to do work as well, I don't always feel up for it. You know, it's one of those things. Some days, you just feel a bit down, or you're going through a particularly hard project or something you need to get through. And, that Sunday night anxiety is something that I've lived with for years as well. I think I've managed to kind of understand it better, understand myself better, and kind of use it to kind of push me forward. I think the moment it starts to kind of stop you and really start to impact the wider parts of your life, you really need to challenge yourself and be like, right, how can I actually pull myself out of this situation and change things? But, it's one of those things that you have to be there for your team, and they support you too. And I think that's the sign of a really good company culture, is the solidarity around stress and also celebrating success.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Ilka, is there a line between, what a company should take responsibility for and what individuals need to take responsibility for?
Yeah, sure. And obviously, I mean, Suzy already mentioned quite a few great things that individuals can do. So having the time to switch off and actually purposefully planning something for a Sunday evening that is fun, because one thing is people also tend to really do all the admin, the unpleasant stuff on a Sunday evening, which is also a bit of a downer for the mood. So that's the individual. But employers can be really mindful about, yes, as I mentioned earlier, how the Monday morning is being approached, and also, as Danny mentioned, being a supportive manager and creating more of a sense of us and we, and even though work is work, of course, but if you create basically a more mindful approach of respecting boundaries people have over the weekend and making them, look forward to coming into work on a Monday, they will also be kind of contributing that back to the organisation.
Yeah, you have a virtuous circle in that sense.
Yeah.
Well, listen, high five, everyone. Thank you very much. That was a great discussion. Really nice to speak to you all there. Ilka Inja-Olo, Professor in Organisational Behaviour and HR Management at the University of Exeter. Danny Campbell there, founder of HOCO, and Suzy Beaumont, Personal Development Consultant and founder of Change Your World. Tell us how you combat the Monday blues. 80295.
Just listen to the roar from the Scotland.